if you do have a chance to chime in on a player that we might have missed. I mean, we've gone through, I think, fairly thoroughly at this point. If there's somebody that you think maybe should be part of the all-sports entourage of excitement, players who don't fit the criteria of Fernando Venezuela, who maybe didn't have the talent, since this is the all-star list of players rank and file in Major League Baseball, go ahead and give us a shout at 866-612-0051. Sean joins us on the line out of La Crosse. Sean, you got somebody for me?
Move on.
Honorable mention.
See, I like him as my first baseman.
No, he's not topping Boog Powell.
Who?
Boog Powell had 300 home runs in his career, and he weighed 280 pounds. Mo Vaughn's honorable mention, no discussion.
He weighed 260.
No, Mo Vaughn was huge. Look at that. He's just a tomato with arms. He's a tomato with arms, and the guy hit 40 home runs a couple times. I mean, look at that guy.
You've been saving that one up for a while, haven't you?
Well, you know, I figured you'd be the bat boy of the team, or the towel boy.
Oh, and Sean's done. A tomato with arms. Talk about that for a nickname. My goodness, I'll take it. Okay, Mo Vaughn might have just eclipsed Boog Powell based on the tomato with arms reference.
We'll do a platoon with Mo Vaughn and Boog Powell. How's that?
Oh, it'll work. It'll work. Tossing Chili Davis as we speak. Yeah, Mo Vaughn maybe has crawled up past honorable mention after that comment.
I don't know if we could put Chili Davis in there because the rest of the team might get confused and try to eat him. I don't know if we want to do that.
Did you just say that?
I did.
Why would you do that to yourself?
Horrible.
Why would you just defame your credibility, which is hanging on by a thread after that comment?
You know, I like to make jokes that don't make sense.
You're 3 through, 2 to go. Finish out this rotation.
Who do we leave off? I had Sabathia.
Tomato with arms.
Bartolo Colon.
Yeah, 250.
250. Yeah, we discovered that before. Wilson Alvarez. That's
what?
Wilson Alvarez, 6'1", 235.
Wilson Alvarez was shifty.
He was a great pitcher in the early 90s with the White Sox. He threw a no-hitter, came over in the Sammy Sosa trade.
And then he went to Tampa.
He went to the Giants.
Where Wade Boggs, Greg Vaughn, and all talented players go today.
Yeah, Fred McGriff.
Continue. The legacy of the Devil Rays.
Wilson Alvarez was my 4 guy. And then Cindy Poundstone, I already mentioned, is my number 5 starter. Moving to the bullpen, we just got a 4-man bullpen. We got El Guapo, Rich Garces, 6 foot, 250. He was a great pitcher. He had a 3.74 ERA out of the bullpen. A career that spanned about 10 years. I don't know how he lasted 10 years. But
can you translate that again? What does El Guapo mean?
The fat, I believe.
I remember Bill Simmons was telling the story in his book, Now I Can Die in Peace, the Red Sox journey. He was saying how back in like '99 he was at Fenway for a Red Sox game, and El Guapo was warming up. And he's sitting there in like the second row, and there's this probably team of like 12-year-old little leaguers behind him. So like 15, 16, little 11, 12-year-old kids, and Bill and his boys start, El Guapo, we can't wait to see you again, doing that little moniker. And his 12-year-old taps him on the shoulder and says, why are you yelling El Guapo? As they're watching this huge man with a little mini goatee warm up, and Simmons fires back, El Guapo, it means the fat. That's his nickname. And the kid looks at him kind of perplexed. His nickname's the fat? Really? Simmons says, yeah, it's the fat, and he likes it. It's his nickname he created for himself.
Yeah.
Kid sits back, looks at Rich Garces, like nudges his buddy on the side, and says, that guy's nickname is the fat. And the entire team, El Guapo, starts chanting to him while Garces gives him a little nod. The guy creates an own nickname for himself, the fat. He should definitely be the captain of this team.
I think so. I think I would agree with you on that one, being the captain. Mike Fetters. You remember Mike Fetters?
Yeah, I remember
6'4",
Mike Fetters.
212.
Dodgers. Played with the Brewers.
Do you remember he played with the Diamondbacks a little bit at the end of his career when Mark Grace was there? Mark Grace came in one of those times when you're getting blown out, so you grab a position player, put him on the mound, see what he can do.
Yeah.
Mark Grace came out and did a dead-on Mike Fetters impression.
While he was pitching?
While he was pitching. Because remember, Mike Fetters, he would do that, he would take the deep breath, he was looking to the side, and all of a sudden he would just...
Can he do like a little horse chuckle? Like,
no.
Like he'd wait. No?
Well, maybe. He just took like a deep breath. Maybe
okay.
That was it. But he would...
So Grace sneaks in, does the Fetters impersonation.
Grace was pitching in the game because the Diamondbacks were getting blown out. So Bob Brenly was the manager at the time. So he puts in Grace. It's like, all right, go pitch, go save our bullpen. So Grace does his dead-on Mike Fetters impression. He had the deep breath, the head shoot towards home plate, everything. The whole infield is just cracking up because Mark Grace is doing this impression, and he's throwing 74-mile-an-hour fastballs down the middle of the plate. Google it. I'm sure you can find it.
I'll be on
YouTube,
that. ASAP.
Right. Eddie Guardado, 6 foot 193. That's a lie. I think he's pushing 220.
Since we're continuing the Guardado and the stories of our chunky team, Guardado, I think, had the reason why Mike Hargrove quit can be placed back towards a little stunt that Guardado pulled last year. You remember the big uproar with the immigration rally we had last year? So May 1st was a day without immigrants. Mm-hmm. Okay, last year. So that's when over 1 million Hispanic immigrants just didn't work that day. Mm-hmm. So Eddie Guardado walks up to Mike Hargrove in the middle of the locker room on April 30th, and he was with Adrian Beltre, I think. Uh-huh. So Eddie is like leading the list of Hispanic players. I know Beltre isn't, but of like Latin American players, and he walks up with a very stern and serious look in his eye and says, "Mike, we got to talk. We got home game on Monday, on May 1st, but it's stay without immigrants, and we're going to stand up for ourselves, and we can't play. Stay without immigrants, stand up for your cause, and you have to do something about this." Doesn't crack a smile, doesn't blink an eye, and Hargrove, yeah, no problem, Eddie, we'll get a hold of that. And I think Guardado thought he would take it as a joke. So Guardado and Beltre and these 3 other Mariner players are sitting there in front of reporters, tricking poor Mike Hargrove into thinking they're going to sit out a game in honor of a very, not corny, but a very commercialized mini holiday. Hargrove buys into it, gets the card out, and says, well, we can call up minor leaguers for bereavement duty because they could put them on bereavement and had them sit out for 2 or 3 days. So Hargrove gets ready to call up a couple minor leaguers just for the cause before Guardado steps in and says, dude, I'm just kidding. I just wanted to get a rise out of you. Before he gets traded to Cincinnati a month later, by the way. So look into that one a little more.
By the way, Guardado, 183 career saves, 2-time All-Star.
Yes, I remember Eddie well from his days in Minnesota. Every day, Eddie. Every day, Eddie Guardado.
Right. And closer for this all-overweight team, all-star, fat team. I don't know what you want to call it.
Rod Beck?
Rod Beck! Shooter. The shooter.
Recently deceased, Rod Beck.
6'1", 236, 3-time All-Star, 286 career saves, 3.30 ERA.
Did you hear about when he was in Dubuque? Or was it
Iowa?
In Iowa.
In Des Moines.
For
the AAA Iowa Cubs. I was just going to tell you that story.
That's a great story.
It is a great story, and this is the kind of guy Rod Beck was.
You're getting choked up over it.
I'm getting choked up over Rod Beck. I mean, yeah. AAA Iowa, he gets injured in 99. He goes to Boston. He pitches the rest of the season. He has some surgery. He misses about a year or two. Comes back, he's looking for a team to play for. Cubs say, well, you know what? We'll sign you to a minor league contract. We'll see what you can do. He's like, all right, my only stipulation is that if another team comes calling, you have to release me. And the Cubs and Rod Beck, they had this, relationship.
The mutual agreement.
Respect with each other. It's like, all right, yeah, we can do that for you. We'll do that. And so Rod Beck's playing for AAA Iowa. Well, his home is in Arizona. His wife is down in Arizona. His family is. He has this nice, RV, Winnebago, 30-foot Winnebago. He gets into Winnebago. It's like, all right, I'm going to
multi-millionaire.
Oh, yeah, Rod Beck. He had 51
Padres,
saves. 51 saves for the Cubs in 98. Drives his Winnebago. He's going to drive up to Iowa. Gets there. Parks right outside the left field wall. And that was his home for the next 3 months while he was at Iowa. And he would, it wasn't only his home. After the games, people would come out there.
It's a party deck.
It was a party. People, they would have beers. He would open up his grill and grill some burgers. And this is, 11 o'clock at night, 11:30 at night, after all the players are gone, the fans are gone. And the only rule was he had a little light in his window. It was one of those plastic neon martini lights you can get it for cheap. If that light was off, the party was over.
But it was never off.
That's right. And that was just, people met him. He was a great guy. And he lost a couple pounds. He was actually in really good shape. He shaved his mullet, but he still had the Fu Manchu, though, which still made him look like a pretty menacing closer. But then the Padres came calling, and he saved 20 games for the Padres in 2003.
He's a special character, and I think he's a perfect way to close out your Chef Boyardee team.